This episode of Marijuana Today Daily is brought to you by our friends over at ease.com, California's top one-stop website for legal marijuana delivery, as well as the same for folks living in the Portland, Oregon area. Good morning, Marijuana Nation. It's Wednesday, September 25th, 2019, and you're tuned in to episode 805 of Marijuana Today Daily. I'm your host, Shay Gunther, and I'll be walking you through today's marijuana news and headlines. As always, we have a full and busy day of cannabis news in our hands, so let's jump right into it. Massachusetts Governor Charlie Baker announced yesterday that he was ordering that all vaporizers, both of the nicotine and cannabis varieties, be banned from being sold in Massachusetts stores for the next 4 months as an emergency measure. Governor Baker cited the ongoing national vaporizer health scare as a reason, pitching the 4-month moratorium on sales as a way to give authorities time to figure out the causes of the health issues seen, which are not really all that well understood. As you might expect, there was a lot of blowback following the announcement, both from people in the vaporizer industry as well as activists and even a member of the Cannabis Control Commission. Commission member Shalene Title, who came up in the industry starting as an activist with Students for Sensible Drug Policy, slammed the decision over Twitter as a move that will ultimately just drive more consumers to use more dangerous illicit market vaporizers. The Massachusetts ban on vaporizers will run through at least January 25th, assuming no legal challenges are able to disrupt things. You can read the Boston Globe for more on this big story. Our second story today rides the overall theme of our top headline as Dave Howard, David Downs, and Bruce Barcott over at Leafly just published a fantastically detailed long-form story about the supply chain that brings illicit vaporizers to the American market. The same vaporizers that are being blamed for causing at least 6 deaths and hundreds of hospital visits. The Leafly trio actually went out and hit the streets for this one, centering their narrative around a section of Los Angeles where one can buy in wholesale amounts all the different parts and fixins needed to make your own unlicensed cannabis oil vaporizers. This is a piece you should absolutely read in full today. This overall storyline is way too important not to. We jump back to the Bay State for our final top story today as the Massachusetts Cannabis Control Commission met yesterday and cast a final vote of approval for plans to allow for both legal marijuana delivery and the opening of cannabis cafes where customers will be able to consume on site. The plan for delivery will require delivery drivers to wear cameras to film all business transactions, though the footage will only be made available afterward to law enforcement if they are investigating a crime and if they have a court order. Cannabis cafes will be rolled out in a pilot program with 12 initial participating communities. Smoking will be allowed only in outdoor areas of cafes, and operating hours will be limited to 8 a.m. to 9 p.m. One of the more exciting points is that both programs will be limited for the first 2 years to participants in the state's social equity programs. There's still lots to be worked out before we see delivery and cafes open, but Commission Chair Steve Hoffman said delivery could be rolled out within the next couple of months. Those are our top stories for today. It's time for Marijuana Today Daily Headlines Blitz. Before we blitz out on headlines, let's quickly thank our sponsor, ease.com, California's top one-stop website for legal marijuana delivery, as well as the same for folks living in the Portland, Oregon area. Everyone over at Ease is celebrating this week the launch of Momentum, a new legal marijuana business accelerator geared towards entrepreneurs from communities that have historically been most negatively impacted by the war on marijuana. That's generally been minorities and people with lower socioeconomic means. Momentum is a new accelerator that will start with a founding class of 10 entrepreneurs who will each get a $50,000 grant, as well as access to all kinds of useful resources and advisors to help get their business idea off the ground. It's a very, very cool new program that you can learn more about over at ease.com/home, with Ease spelled E-A-Z-E. Ease is proud to be partnering up on the Momentum Business Accelerator with program sponsors Ultra Native, Bale Capital, and Select. All right, time for the Blitz. Marijuana Business Daily's chart of the week shows the incredible growth seen in Illinois' legal marijuana industry, as both the number of registered patients and the amount of money spent at medical marijuana cannabis dispensaries roughly doubled between August of last year and the same month this year. As of August of this year, there were just over 83,000 registered patients, up from 44,000 last year, and the amount of money spent by those patients was $24 million, exactly double last year's monthly total of $12 million. Seems like this marijuana thing might be a good business to go into after all. Open up Eli McVeigh's story for more context and background. A new study conducted by the New York City Health Department finds that a full third of all city residents between the ages of 18 and 25 consume cannabis, while a quarter of those ages 26 to 34 do the same. This is the first cannabis-focused study conducted by the New York City Health Department. Interestingly, it found that white New Yorkers use marijuana at a far higher rate than blacks and Hispanics, at 24% for whites compared to 14% for black New Yorkers and 12% for Hispanic New Yorkers. That makes the racial disparities seen in actual police work, which overwhelmingly target non-white offenders, all the more offensive. Another study grabs a spot today with Colorado-based lab Ellipsis Analytics testing 250 popular over-the-counter CBD products and finding that around half of them contain THC. Industrial hemp is defined as cannabis that has less than 0.3% THC, but the concentration process can, by definition, boost the end resulting levels of THC in a product. That's why it's generally recommended that anyone who faces marijuana drug testing refrain from CBD products. Utah Governor Gary Herbert just signed a bill into law that expands the number of licensed dispensaries to be allowed in his state to 14. The initial plan for the launch of a medical marijuana program in Utah called for just 7 shops to be opened, all of which would be controlled by the state, but that was amended to allow for double the amount of shops, which will now be privately owned and operated. State regulators will have the option later down the line, should demand call for it, to increase the number of dispensary licenses, which will also be given out in a geographically diverse manner. Interestingly, Utah will also allow for medical cannabis to be delivered. We could see dispensaries opening up in Utah as soon as March of next year. Yesterday, the Senate Appropriations Subcommittee on Commerce, Justice, Science, and Related Agencies included language in a legislative rider that protects state legal medical marijuana from federal persecution. This is a bit of lawmaking that we see every year, as the protections afforded to medical cannabis are tied to riders attached to annual spending bills. The bill still needs to pass through the Senate before making its way to the desk of corrupt and criminal traitor dictator wannabe Trump to smash his Sharpie down on with his slimy orange little clawed hand. Lots of wonky details on this, which you can find over at Tom Angel's story at Marijuana Moments if you want them. Kyle Yeager over Marijuana Moments picked up on a good story out of the New York region, where New York Governor Andrew Cuomo said yesterday in an interview that he would be speaking with the governors of neighboring New Jersey and Connecticut to coordinate around legal marijuana policy. Right now, adult use is not legal in any of those states, but it will soon enough. And Governor Cuomo said that he saw the meetings as opportunities for the 3 states to get on the same page for how they will handle policies like taxation and product availability, rightly pointing out that any kind of differences in state tax structure could compel residents to hop state lines to find better deals. You can read more and listen to Governor Cuomo yourself over at Marijuana Moments. And finally for today, CNN is reporting that lawmakers in the Australian capital city of Canberra voted yesterday to pass a bill making marijuana legal for people ages 18 and up to grow, use, possess, and consume. The new law will go into effect on January 1st. Those are the headlines and news for the day. I'll be back with you again tomorrow morning with another information-packed episode of Marijuana Today Daily. But in the meantime, if you have any stories to share or feedback to give, zip us an email to headlines@mjtodaydaily.com. And while you're clicking around the interwebs, swing over to our website at mjtodaydaily.com to find links to all the news we cover. Thanks to our sponsor, Ease, and to our awesome Patreon listeners for the support that makes this show possible. To join the illustrious ranks of the Patreon listeners yourself, swing over to our website at mjtodaydaily.com and click on that big blue button at the top of the page that says Become a Patron. I'm your host, Shay Gunther. Thanks for tuning in and starting your day with marijuana today. Today.
One take, Shay. One take.